Guys, I think we're in. We're back. We're back in. I can smell something being burnt in my home. Mm. We have to change this lovely little pinned thing that's showing on Facebook to actually show the updated date. But in the moment, now that we are back live, um, all right, let's see. Oh, it's still being weird over there on the other platforms. Looks like maybe it'll come back. Whew. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. There's something going on another floor of my home, and it is smoking and sounding, smelling super weird. So I'm like trying to catch my bearings on what what I'm gonna do next with that information, how it's going. Um, okay. So, hello. Name is Dr. Z. It's definitely been a very full day. Not sure if it's still showing weird on the other platforms or not, or if it has transitioned at least to the view that I am seeing, which is myself, clearly, and clearly in a way that, like I can see me and it makes sense and I know what I'm talking about today. Today's episode, oh, I guess it ended over on one platform and Uh, maybe just throwing it out there from a team if you can see if you can reconnect it. Okay. Um, but we're gonna get into it. We've spent 13 some minutes at this point trying to get to this place. And now we are going to dive into this episode of the Greater Self Vibes podcast where we are discussing this week's episode is called She Came Back to Her Body, Her Mind, and herself as one. And the way that I'm going to do this is a little bit different than usual. Normally, I kind of like speak and just kind of go through things and I'm letting it be kind of like a flowy conversation. Today, based on capacity, based on what is happening and how life has been going for the day, I'm going to choose to kind of read from my outline and read it to you like a story time. Um, okay, so IG isn't working. Okay, cool. I guess they won't get it today. Yes, it's no for them. Um, Reading it like a story time, letting it kind of flow, basically making it easier for myself instead of going too hard. And as I'm flowing through it, will there be moments where I'm absolutely going to get like all into it and probably go all out? Yes, most definitely. And at those points, that's where, by all means, please do jump in there, ask questions, share comments, and oopsies, I guess it's back now. Um, and go from there. So, since I'm reading, now we all get to see, for as smart as a person can be to be named Dr. Z, how well can you read in public? And what does that really look like? And also making sure I'm reading from the right place where I actually want to be reading from and the information. Hopefully, you all, depending on when you're catching this episode, we just closed out a day off over the weekend. And my hope is that all of you are still in one piece. Fireworks weren't too much for you or for the places where you are. And yeah, 7 7. Some people recognize angel numbers or numbers to be a thing. And I think today there's probably some portals, some things are thinging, and we shall get more into those. All right. So as your host, we're going back into the body today. Like I said, today is a little different in how we're doing it, but we're still doing it nonetheless. I want to start with the question: when did you stop trusting her? And you're thinking like, who is she talking about? And it's not like just somebody or some random person, but her, we're going to describe as your body, your nervous system, that deep, quiet knowing that lives somewhere below, like not here in your throat, definitely not super low below your gut, but like That middle part where you genuinely know, like that intuition. When did you stop listening? Because I know for me, and I definitely hear from a lot of my clients in my therapy work and my coaching work, and even in my yoga classes, there is definitely a moment or like a series of moments where they noticed every single time that things got different, it changed, it was not what it used to be. And the ideal to jump into the head instead and just excuse whatever is happening in the body and suck it up and keep it moving and drive on is 100% what people defaulted to doing. I'll plan, I'll push through, I'll override. We talked about overing a couple of weeks ago, and that's where people are kind of sitting and resonating at in a space of overing. So, excuse me, um, looking at that and kind of noticing there were definitely moments, and hopefully you recall some of yours so you can kind of stay with me on this little story or flow, because as you notice the moments where you did that or where that happened for yourself, you can also tap back into where you want to make sure not to do it anymore, of course. And problem with all of that is that when you started strategizing and planning and overing and doing all the things, it actually worked. It got you the degrees, it got you the roles, the titles, the bag, and something got left behind in that whole process. Today, we're going to name it. We're going to feel it, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to get back into it. This is where music cues and it gets all wavy. This is why you can't heal things in parts, and there is a benefit. Like I said, this episode is talking about the mind, body, and self connection, and how you really need all of it, which is why one of the reasons why I'm so intentional about being a holistic healer, even as a licensed marriage and family therapist and providing therapy services to people. um I do not do it from a space of, if we just talk about it and you should be all good, because the words you say and use are helpful. The way you think about yourself makes a difference, but you also need to know how to integrate that into your body, how what you think about your integration of it into your body makes a difference or not, and then giving yourself permission to like roll with it. Oh, that's so crazy. That video looks super bright over there. This integration component. So integration really means parts of you are actually talking to each other. So your mind is receiving signals from your body. It's listening, it's conceptualizing it, it's helping you form a better idea of like how you view and see yourself. So like your identity, your values, your actual knowing. And they're in a relationship together. So imagine they're not out here just doing their own solo things. They all go together. I don't know if you want to say that they're in a throuple or something along those lines, but the bigger picture is they are all together. They are working on your behalf. And the only thing is maybe they're on different floors, they have different shifts, but they all do need to have access to the same information so they can show up and do their different roles in their different parts. Here's what happens when kind of trauma gets introduced. You start to notice it, and there's like, of course, big T traumas, little t traumas, and it starts dysregulating our nervous system. When you grow up in an environment or a situation where the way you function is through like a very dysregulated household or dysfunctional household, dysfunctional community, however you want to look at it and see it, when you are forced to now navigate life through different lenses and you're scanning for danger, you're scanning for what does work, what doesn't work. There's different parts and signals that will not get sent at the right times to make sure that you are safe. When you start noticing danger and you do move into a space of survival mode, slowing down feels like it will be the most dangerous thing you could possibly do. So, feeling that danger, the ideal of rest starts to look like, if I want to be safe, then the last thing I can do in the whole entire world is possibly rest. So, I have got to keep going. I have to keep moving and keep functioning. Hence, again, back to that overing again. Um, but the thing is, when we keep learning to override ourselves, we actually are creating more of a liability within our physical bodies, and we're creating more of a liability in our experiences of life. So if things that feel good are hard to access for you on a consistent basis, it's probably because you're so used to overriding feeling pain that when you do experience things that are good, that too doesn't feel very well. Nobody tells us about the reality that femininity, and of course, I come back to it, that when you do override those things, you're not overriding like a soft, I take that back. You're not overriding a component that you need in your life that is ineffective. You're overriding the capacity for femininity to actually support you. So it means like energetically, not like gender specifically, but the ideal that being feminine is considered like the opposite of power, even though it technically is the source of all of it, because respectfully, you need, if you do go back to the genders, you kind of need a woman to create a human being, but we're not arguing that for the moment. We are looking at your feminine energy does identify your flow, your intuition, and how you receive rest. And none of these are soft, they're actually very sovereign. When you do not have those, you do not have harmony in your life. You are noticing that, yeah, you're not out here having the kind of peace that you're looking for. You're not having the experiences you want, and definitely not with the people in the circles and how you would like it to go. You don't get the opportunity to believe that you're in a safe space, and you find yourself overriding all those warning signs, all those danger, Will Robinson, like you just bona fide override them because you want to achieve or accomplish the thing that you said you were trying to do. And then this is when all those different areas gets out of tune. Your mind isn't talking to your body isn't talking to the image of how we present ourselves, and then all of them are out here acting in silos trying to keep you safe in a way that causes you to stop trusting those gut feelings that you've always had. What I noticed for sure is high achieving women override these signals all the time. Like the way they get to the top, the way they are able to do what they do, it all comes from how are they overriding their own needs to accommodate other people's 100% at their expense. The first thing that pops up usually is fatigue. And then when you were younger and you were actually functioning in the same state, your parents might have also called you lazy. And then you internalize this idea that being called lazy was like death. You just might as well kill the person. When there is a difference in being lazy. And if you really were lazy as a kid, then I got nothing for you. If you weren't, and you were really just trying to figure out how can I avoid being in the stuff that I don't want to be in, or cleaning the stuff that I already cleaned like 50 million times, and Saturday morning I'm sick of cleaning it, you may have gotten accustomed to pretending to be tired or fatigued so that someone would call you lazy and they would leave you alone. The other one, the other thing that tends to pop up when people do like consider you lazy or that you're fatigued, when you start noticing the things, is you'll assume that maybe you have a lack of discipline, and that's why you are fatigued and you're not like pushing through when you really needed more rest. You're pushing through when you should have told the clients you don't have any more time, you can't see them. You should have told the family members, no, I can't actually help on this thing. You should have told the friend, no, you can't come to my house in the middle of the night, especially when you already know what it is. But yet, here you are out here superseding signs that other people just wouldn't do because they're not out here over, and they're not trying to overcompensate and over support people that don't need it because they are grown. And maybe there's a little bit of a savior complex that starts to pop up, that you train your nervous system to override those signals to where you're making decisions that almost inevitably always come back and bite you right in the butt. But to avoid it, you just keep overing everything and exceeding all the stuff, and then you end up depleted. The second one is emotional flooding. Because of this, that overwhelm seems to hit out of nowhere. The tears are happening. You're raging in the meeting. Maybe you're out here on these streets. You're hollering and screaming at folks and telling them who knows what because you're probably so overwhelmed. You try to, I don't know, use substances, go out, be with other people, and trying to party away what really was you probably needed a break. You needed a moment to recalibrate yourself. You didn't mean to cuss your boss out. You just accidentally said the stuff that you always have been thinking, and said it so they could hear it. Maybe you typed it in an email. Maybe you told your teacher she is the bane of your existence. I don't know. These things could have happened, but that emotional flooding pops up, and then it looks like you're being too sensitive, you're too emotional, you're too much. But really what's happening is that part where your mind told your body to shut off feelings and emotions, it's starting to pop up now. And now it's basically you're full and the seepage is coming out, and it's coming out at a rapid pace. And then you actually just pop the lid and it all flies out. And it looks like you're losing your whole entire shit, because who goes from having it all together and being cool to crying profusely like a maniac, to screaming and cussing people out, to telling people they just can't do it. And it looks like, and this is probably why a lot of people say women are crazy, they're this and that, and they're really not. But when you're out here trying to stuff down your femininity and you're trying to override the ways that you really need to function to have a harmony in life that really makes sense, you are going to hit a point where you will get fatigued enough that your emotions now will start popping out. Your body will no longer keep holding back the things that your mind told it to hold back. It will start letting it out since you didn't do it in a way that made sense. And then the third one that pops up, if you make it through those successfully and you've got those going on at a rapid pace, the next thing that happens is, and this one is deep, it's pleasure. You no longer start resting or have joy, and you call it a distraction and you feel guilty, but you feel like you have to earn rest and you have to earn joy, you have to earn pleasure. You're supposed to be disregarded, disrespected, and like pretty much all the disses. So you're getting dissed out here because you don't feel like you've done enough to earn the right to be peaceful, to experience joy, to any of that. And now you are robbing yourself. And I think I was saying this to someone earlier today, where you get to a point where you think that play is childish, and it was probably the one thing that kept you sane. Have you ever seen, well, nowadays kids are like freaking out, and hence they are trying to talk to adults and talk to therapists about it. But back in the day, if you were, I don't know, maybe born in the 70s, 60s, maybe the 80s, somewhere around there, but any of those early years, when you were a kid and you went outside to play, like, you were good. You knew nothing in the world could touch you unless there was some creepy dude in your neighborhood or something like that. But otherwise, you knew that you were about to go outside and play, and it was about to be the best day of your life. And then as soon as you started hearing about adults, or maybe you got parentified really early, and we definitely talked about that before, the first thing that started to happen was you started putting away childish things because someone said you're not supposed to play as an adult. If anybody's taking note of what's happening in the world, there are more adults planning and scheduling things to play, because that was the creative thing that really allowed all of those parts of you to connect together and connect in a way that allowed creativity to flow. Um, Being comfortable with yourself, like, so many things got robbed when you start overing and you stop listening to your body, and you aren't getting the signals to your mind that, like, hey, we need a break. And your mind is like, no, we got to accomplish this stuff because we got these degrees, we got these expectations, we got to take care of people that can take care of themselves, just for them to like bona fide screw you over later. And maybe that's just my experience, but I know it's not, because I've definitely talked to, again, my clients and other people, that every time they put themselves out there for other folks, it always managed to, not only that you did too much and were probably tired and all the things I've already mentioned, but then you found out you start getting to a point where you don't even want to be soft anymore. You don't want to be nice. You don't want to be kind. You start moving into a space, F everybody, because you can't trust people and blah, 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 blah. All the noise, right? But I want to reframe something for you instead and give you maybe an opportunity to let some of that go. Put it down, lay it down, because I know a lot of women do wrestle with this, especially in the community of folks that I help with. And it's being able to talk about feminine energy and not have a hesitation about bringing it up, and the reality of wanting to be able to be soft and knowing that there are people around you that will support you and allow you to be safe and hold space for you to be vulnerable and talk about those things that you do want. um Historically, I do not know what the heck is happening up there, but my goodness, I hope they figure it out. um Historically, whenever we talk or spoke about feminine or femininity, it was always meant to be passive, agreeable, small. And the thing is, most of you have worked way too hard to get to this point to then go back to playing small and trying to maintain roles that are not even, it's not even real. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. If you're a great person, why would you stop being a great person because somebody else is offended by it? Somebody else is too weak to, I hate to say the term man up, but to maybe adult up and own that. I don't know, maybe you weren't the right person for the job, and that's okay. Maybe the connection or the relationship didn't work the way you thought it was, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that choosing to allow the feelings and the experiences of it to flow through and care to be a problem. um in the sense that if everybody's walking around being hard and being masculine and being, like, I don't have no feelings, nobody can hurt me, nobody can do this or that, then at what point are we actually creating connections with other people when we've clearly disconnected our own connections to ourselves? This is how we're treating ourselves. This is how we're treating our own intuition. This is how we're treating our body that is actively saying, I would love to help and support you. But every time I send you a message, you ignore me. I'm getting tired. And this is where our body starts shutting us down. But I digress. And come back to this statement of feminine energy not being passive. Have you ever been in a room with someone, or maybe have you ever been in a room with me, and I'm in a good space, everything's grounded and solid, and the way that I have learned that I am able to walk into a space and into a room, not only am I comfortable owning my own presence in that room, whatever other people think, say, or believe about me won't really matter because the energy is captivating and it's magnetic. Now, whether it's me or someone else, I hope is that you have been in the presence of a person that their entire existence is just like, wow, I don't know what it is about them. That is a person that has been able to actually capture, activate, and feel super comfortable with embodying their feminine energy because it is magnetic. It's the opposite of ambition. They're not even out here trying to be or do anything, they just are. It's a force, like it just exists and it's there to be received, to be supported. It's a flow. When you're able to notice this, unfortunately, my strong friends, what tends to happen is you all immediately jump and put back on your masculine armor and you're like, yeah, that person's cool, but I do this, I did that, I did that, I do this, I do that. And it's like, that's cool, that's dope. But what would it be like to feel comfortable to just flow and be there at the same time in the same space together and not need to try to prove your worth, but allow it to be felt? Allow your existence and your presence to be seen and felt before you even enter because you are listening to your body. You didn't go to a party when you didn't need to be there. You didn't pretend that you had capacity for things that you didn't, that you don't. And at the same time, you're also really comfortable with noticing I can let my shoulders down and relax and just be me and allow the people that are for me to connect with that and be cool with that. um this ideal that you have to hold it all together, carry all the weight, never let anybody see you crack, or make sure that you're safe at all times and you don't need anything and you got it all and you got it all to give to everybody and you got everybody's back, is breaking yours. Literally, physically, your body is yelling and saying, oh, my back, my neck and my back, and then you out here just ignoring it and pretending like that's not what's happening, just so you can maintain an image or an experience that you want other people to see and believe about you. When you move into this flow state, and this is where you start to trust your body, which then allows you to trust the promises and the words that you make and say to yourself, it doesn't feel like you're always pushing and grinding. It starts to feel almost effortless. Like, oh, shoot, that wasn't that hard or complicated at all. Those moments where you felt like you were in your flow, in your mojo, I would say those are the moments where, like, you probably had a super magnetic connection with other folks. If you gave a presentation, it was like going, it was all in. I can tell you today, like, even though I'm speaking about this, your mind, your body, and yourself being connected, I am keenly aware that everything is not 100% in alignment for me. And that doesn't change that I can still speak to what is. I know it to know to not pretend that that isn't happening. And I don't mind being transparent to speak on it. When you are processing and handling your own stuff, but at the same time, you have made a promise to yourself, a commitment to yourself, part of me still showing up and even doing the podcast, especially on the mind and the body connection, is because I need my body to know that it can trust that I hear it when it says what it's the information it's giving me. Hey, we need to move today. We haven't moved around in the ways that we need to so that we can, release some things. I hear you, I understand you. Hey, we're a little bit tired emotionally and physically, but we also still need to move. Cool, I got you. I am leaving after this. I'm going to do a workout. I am doing yoga, but and trusting myself, part of the somatic work is not only noticing what's happening, but being comfortable with what is a way that I can still show up that is most authentic for who I am and what I'd like to present, as well as sharing with other folks how to do the same without overing at the same time. So, what that looked like, and we'll get into the somatic practice of it. And these are things that I'm just offering, things you can do, stuff you can try. Um, I am a huge component. Before, respectfully, a couple of years ago, in a mastermind, I I remember startling one of the people that had like come back in from a break because when they came in, I was just talking about how I was laying on the floor and I just wanted to get up off the floor. But one of the things that I actually do somatically to shift my mood or help me get regrounded or back into it is I will lay on the floor. That is why this whole session has been on the floor today. I'm sitting on the floor. I don't even know all the stuff that's around me on this floor, but I'm here. I'm on the floor. This whole day of sessions has been on the floor with the intention of seeking to gain a level of grounding that I otherwise didn't have. I went outside, I got some sun, I went and met with some people, um, not people, a person, to actually talk about my physical health and recognizing the reality of can I do my own physical work by myself because I've been trained and I know all the stuff? Absolutely. Part of embracing my femininity is finding who can illuminate things that I don't know yet. Who can show and share information that I haven't been able to figure out because I'm the one stuck in it. For you all, maybe you aren't going out and meeting with a trainer, but wherever you are, if you're in the car or you're taking a walk, you can just take a moment and take a couple of breaths in and out. Respectfully, that's doing yoga every time you take those deep breaths and getting that good prana going. But somatically, ways that you start to reconnect your mind and your body and yourself together is remembering who the fuck you are and how dope and bad you are. And I know I'm supposed to be working on not cussing, but sometimes I need the words to come out so that I can hit for emphasis. Remembering who you are and taking those breaths in and out to recall, that's right. I'm kind of dope over here. I got a whole lot to offer, and I can't really do that if I'm sitting over here moping about who knows what for how long. But at the same time, I do need to designate time where I can address that. I can deal with it, whether it's journaling, whether it's talking to another person. But I also do have things to do. And if it is time sensitive, what are the promises that I'm keeping to myself in this moment? So I said, take a deep breath. It also helps, and I do this before I get out of bed every morning. When I wake up, especially if I'm not startled awake, the first thing I do is look at, so what is happening in my body? And I check, all right, so I got all my body parts. Even if I don't physically touch everything, I definitely make sure to notice, like, what do I feel? Where do I feel it? Why do I feel it? How do I feel it? And what do I want to do with that information? Am I getting up to do something, move something, and go somewhere? Or do I need to lay here for a moment more so I can actually get into like, what am I also thinking about? Do I need to journal in this moment? Do I need to jump straight in the shower? Am I going to the restroom? Like what are the things that are happening? And stopping anytime throughout your day to do a body scan to notice with these thoughts that are going on, what else is happening? What else do I need to know? What information or knowledge am I maybe missing because I'm not listening to my body? Um, uh, I'm like, this one is a good one. Another thing you can do is look at where are you holding things in your body. A lot of women and or people will definitely hold stuff in their lower back. When you're stressed about finances or different things about stability, it will manifest in your back for sure. So like I said, when you are out here overing for other people, you're basically holding your own back. But look and notice what parts of your body feel heavy. Are your shoulders like up here when you wake up in the morning? If they are, like, what do you want to do to release and get those out? What stuff needs to be addressed or handled so you can be cool? You don't have to solve everything right this minute, but just notice what's happening first before you even, so you can have the possibility of being able to integrate things and come back to it later when you have the time and space to. So I want to leave you with this as we are looking at how do you ground your body, listen to it, take the knowledge that your body is sending you, especially in the areas where the stuff is happening. And then what are you going to do about it? So, what thoughts or things or actions need to take place once you've allowed yourself to start trusting that if I feel a particular way, it could be something I ate, but what else is also happening that will require me to really have to address and identify what what is going on with me. Um, so take those moments, integrate those things. While yes, I gave you a couple of tips here or there, you can totally Google all the stuff on the internet, like how do I ground myself? How do I do a body scan? How do I? Who knows? Maybe I might have something on YouTube, but if I do, I don't know where it is right this minute. So just telling you right now, Google some stuff. Google some stuff, you'll find some things. But the more you start trusting your body when it is telling you something the first time. So notice you probably have had pains before and you just assumed it was nothing, it was whatever. And then it kept intensifying and continuing and continuing. That was your cue right there to do something different and you just actively chose not to. Listen the first time, and you don't have to spend like millions of dollars later trying to fix it. Um, Also get comfortable with the idea that how you go about healing your body and reconnecting back to it and then using your thoughts to do other actions to make stuff happen and shifting your image of yourself. This is not like a one day you're done, you've reached the top of the mountain and it's over. This is a continuous process for every day that you continue to live. So every day that you have the opportunity and gift to wake up, you have another chance to expand on another level of the greatest version of you, to heal something that used to cause you pain or discomfort or dis-ease in any type of way. Your body can't fix everything by itself, but you can definitely start listening to it for sure. And this is a beautiful, perfect little segue into, and if you are looking for how you can do that in person, I absolutely will be offering that opportunity come August. Maybe it's August 29th, but if you can't wait until then and you aren't in the IE area of California, then you can totally join this lovely summit that I believe starts next week. I believe it's 7, 13, and 14 with some people I know in real life that I've had the opportunity to meet and the pleasure to work with. And we shared some interviews and put some stuff together to help you also explore becoming you again and looking at your mind, your body, and yourself. So there will definitely be links that you can click on to sign up for this summit. It is free. And then in August, it is not free, but it is in person. And maybe, who knows, I might consider putting it online or something too. But for free in July, for a fee in August, but you have the opportunity to learn different ways to disconnect and reconnect to yourself, as well as shift how you are becoming a better version of you. So I thank y'all for sitting through the technical glitches and difficulties for us to even get to this point to deliver this episode. And thank y'all for even joining. If any of this resonated with you, you have questions, thoughts, or concerns, by all means, please drop me a question. You can put it in the DMs. You can send an email. You can leave some comments on the podcast later. Appreciate you all, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your evening, day, morning, whenever you happen to be tapping in. Well, I will see y'all